The Tang Dynasty. Yang Di, the last Sui emperor, had treated the Chinese people like his slaves. He forced them to pay high taxes and to work on the Grand Canal and his palaces and roads without pay. The next king of China, Li Yan, didn't make the same mistake. Li Yan became emperor of China in the year 618. He knew that an emperor who rules hungry and happy people won't last for long. He wanted the Chinese people to be prosperous and content, so he spent money on making cities stronger and cleaner. He decreed that the people of China could follow any religion they wanted to. He encouraged merchants in China to trade with the people of India and Byzantium. Li Yan founded a new dynasty, the Tang Dynasty. The Sui Dynasty only lasted for 40 years, but the Tang Dynasty lasted more than 300. Do you remember the Golden Age of India? The Indian Golden Age was a time when India was rich and at peace, and when the people of India created beautiful art, music, and stories. The 300 years of the Tang Dynasty were the Golden Age of China. The Chinese learned how to print books by carving the words into wooden blocks and dipping the blocks in ink. That way they could print the same pages over and over again, instead of writing each page out by hand. Chinese jewelers made beautiful, delicate jewelry with green jade, creamy pearls, and gold strands beaten so fine that they were no thicker than threads. Artists painted beautiful pictures on silks and sculpted graceful figures from pottery. They learned how to drain the sap from special trees called liqueur trees, color it black, red, gold, and green, and painted it onto wooden cloth. The liqueur dried into a hard, smooth surface like a beautiful medieval kind of plastic. The Chinese people became wealthier. Babies of rich people ate out of liqueur bowls and liqueur spoons. Many families were rich enough to eat fancy food, like ice cream made from rice and milk and 24 different flavors of dumplings. In the early Middle Ages, most other people ate with their fingers, but the Chinese ate with carved and lacquered chopsticks. They dressed in silks trimmed with jewels. The sleeves of men's coats were so wide that the tailors had to sew weights into the cuffs so that the sleeves wouldn't flap around and get in the way. And the richest women of all wore skirts made out of the feathers of 100 different birds. Chinese scientists thought that China should become even richer if they could learn how to make gold. So they spent years combining different metals and chemicals trying to figure out how to create gold. They never succeeded, but they made another discovery by mistake. When they mixed charcoal with two other chemicals called saltpeter and sulfur, they ended up with a black powder that exploded. The Chinese had invented gunpowder. Soon they learned how to use it in rockets made out of hollow bamboo tubes. No wonder that the Tang emperors became richer and more powerful. They built 4 long walls around their beautiful capital city. Each wall had 3 gates in it. Only the emperor could use the middle gate in each wall. The palace of the emperor had 20,000 musicians and entertainers living in it. One Tang emperor even brought 100 dancing horses to his court. The horses wore gold and silver halters and had jewels woven into the manes. When musicians played, the horses bent their legs up and down, nodded their heads in time to the music, and reared up and down. One Chinese writer tells us that after the emperor's reign was over, the dancing horses were sold to the army. One day, the soldiers decided to have a party out in the stables. When they started to play music, the horses began to dance. The soldiers were terrified. They thought that the horses were possessed by evil spirits and chased them out of the stable with brooms.